Hey everyone! Have you noticed your grocery bills creeping up lately? If you're in Malaysia, you're definitely not imagining it. Today, I'm diving into the big question. Why are food prices rising so fast in Malaysia? And what does that even mean for you? First, let's break it down. Rising food prices means the cost of things like rice, chicken, vegetables, even your favorite snacks, are going up. Economists call this food inflation. And it's not just a local problem. According to recent news, Malaysia's food inflation hit around 4.7% in 2023. That means, on average, you're paying nearly 5% more for the same items compared to last year. So, what's causing this jump? There are a few big reasons. Why? Global supply chain issues have disrupted food imports. The weaker ringgit makes imports more expensive, and climate change affects local harvests. All Malaysians are affected, but families and low-income groups feel the impact the most as food takes up a bigger part of their budget. How to cushion. Plan your budget carefully, try to buy local products when possible, and look out for discounts or promotions to save money. Let's look at some real numbers. A basket of basic groceries that cost RM100 last year? Now you might pay RM105, or even more. Some items, like chicken, eggs, and cooking oil, have jumped by as much as 10%. News outlets are reporting that many Malaysians are feeling the squeeze, especially families on a tight budget. But here's the thing. Understanding what's happening is the first step to dealing with it. Whether you're meal planning, looking for deals, or just want to know why your favorite teh tarik is more expensive, now you've got the facts. Stick around for more tips and updates. And hey, let me know in the comments. What's the most expensive grocery item you've seen lately? Let's get to the next part for more information.
Next, I will explain why food prices are rising. There are several factors that cause food price to rise. First of all, I would like to talk about pandemic disruptions. The pandemic affected nearly all areas of the food supply chain, including production, processing, and retail. Those effects on the food supply chain continue today. When lockdowns forced people to eat at home, restaurant suppliers lost their key client base, while supermarkets saw an enormous surge in demand. Many food manufacturers found it challenging in those first few months to scale up operations to meet the requirements of grocery buyers. Food production expenses increased due to labor turnover, expenditures to avoid product contamination, and additional worker training costs. Even transportation expense of food to retailers and processors increased because retailers placed immediate orders to keep products on shelves. These higher expenses are factored into the cost consumers pay to eat, and while some transport expenses fell, like gasoline, other escalating costs through the food chain negated any cost savings. Second factor is the war in Ukraine. Early in the war in Ukraine, analysts were guessing that food prices would have to be affected. Those predictions have become a reality. Russia and Ukraine are two of the largest producers of wheat in the world and together account for 30% of all the world's exported wheat. But the war has posed obvious challenges to Ukraine to continue exporting wheat. Its crop production and export capability have been laid waste by the war. Its cargo shipments declined 92% from May 2021 to May 2022, says S&P Global Market Intelligence. Russia and Ukraine on July 22nd agreed to free up about 20 million tons of grain stuck in Black Sea ports. The unlocking eased some pressure in the market, but fundamentals for the long term remain intact, McKinsey and Company stated. McKinsey predicts Ukraine's 2022 to 2023 grain harvest will end up being more than 30 million tons below average levels. Because Ukraine is unable to contribute its share as a major producer of wheat, the world is now short on supply. Short supply means that it costs a whole lot more to buy wheat, and that makes it expensive to process the necessary ingredients, such as flour and starch. Food manufacturers then must increase the price they charge consumers to make up for their added cost of production. The third factor is currency devaluation. For this factor, I would like to give an example. If the ringgit weakens against foreign currencies, it will be more expensive to import things. Since various foods in Malaysia are imported, a weak ringgit literally means that consumers have to pay higher prices. Even domestically produced products may become dearer if their production line includes imported input materials and machinery. The last factor is increase in demand. As the population grows and consumers' preferences shift, demand for certain products rises. For instance, rising demand for specialty or organic foods has pushed prices up in those categories. Furthermore, global situations like rising demand for staple foods overseas can result in elevated local prices due to competition for these products.
I'm sure you've heard the news. Food prices are climbing again. But have you ever stopped to wonder who it actually hits hardest? Let's break it down. When food prices rise, there are two big groups who feel the impact: those directly affected and those hit indirectly. Let's start with the people in the direct line of fire. First up, net food buyers. These are households that buy more food than they sell, and they're everywhere, especially in cities. When prices jump, their grocery bills skyrocket and it eats into their income fast. Then there's the population in developing countries. Imagine spending up to 80% of your income just on food. Sometimes that's hundreds of income every month. For millions, that's reality. So when prices go up even a little, it can mean skipping meals, falling deeper into poverty, or facing serious hunger. Urban poor families are especially vulnerable. Now, let's talk about who gets indirectly hit. Businesses, like restaurants and food manufacturers, feel the squeeze too. Their raw ingredient costs go up, but they can't always raise prices without losing customers. That often means slimmer profits or even layoffs. And of course, consumers in general aren't off the hook. Higher food prices force all of us to rethink what we buy. Maybe it's trading your favorite brand for a cheaper one, hunting for deals, or cutting back on treats. In the end, rising food prices ripple out, touching almost everyone in some way. So the next time you see prices at the supermarket creeping up, remember, it's not just your wallet that feels it. For many, it's a much heavier burden.
Next, there has three solutions to cushion the impact of food price rising. First of all, there is government policies and subsidies. Government has the power to control the rising of the price of food. Government can give subsidies for food items such as cooking oil, rice, dairy products, and more. Subsidy means the government helped the company which has produced food, and so on. So, whenever government help the company in production cost, it will help to prevent the rise of food price. Nowadays, government more focused to blanket subsidies, which is give benefit to all consumers, mainly focused for lower income groups. It's not only that, government can also focus on agricultural sector, which is boost the production from it. For an example, if we produce more quantity of rice, it will maintain the price of rice from price rise. Secondly, there has consumer awareness and smart shopping. Buying seasonal will help to prevent rising of price. This is because whenever it comes to any festival days, peoples will prefer to buy local foods. So whenever everyone focus on local food, it will be reduced. Import of foods that comes from other countries, so that it will help to increase production of our agricultural products and increase our country GDP, which will increase the national income too. In addition, smart shopping habits also very important because as a buyer, we need to compare the price and need to see the quality of the food. Whenever the food is quality and get for cheap, compare with other food, it will make us to save money. Lastly, supply chain. Need to improve storage infrastructure to increase the capacity of keeping the products in stock of food. Whenever the government or any private companies invest in infrastructure, it will cause lower costs for food transportation, and it will reduce food prices. It's not only that the government can also look or find better trade agreements. It means the government will collaborate with any businesses to decrease the tariff, and it will maintain the food price. Other than that, farmers need to sell their products straight to consumers without any middlemen. Whenever there are middlemen between consumer and farmer, it will increase the price of the food continuously.
For the conclusion. Alright, let's wrap this up. Rising food prices in Malaysia, yeah, it's not just something you hear your parents complaining about at the dinner table anymore. It's real, and it's hitting everyone, from students trying to make ends meet to big families counting every ringgit at the grocery store. So, why is this happening? Well, it's a mix of things. Global supply chain issues, climate change messing with crops, and our own reliance on imported food. When costs go up for farmers, transporters, and sellers, guess who pays at the end? You and me. Who's feeling it the most? Honestly, everyday Malaysians, lower-income families, small business owners, even students just trying to afford a decent meal. And let's not forget farmers and food vendors. They're squeezed by rising costs too, forced to up prices or risk shutting down. So what can we do? Here's my take. First, if you can, support local farmers and markets. The less we depend on imports, the more control we have over prices. Second, let's get creative in the kitchen. Try new recipes, cut down on food waste, and make the most of seasonal produce. But it's not just on us. Governments can help by investing in local agriculture, tackling food hoarding, and keeping supply chains smooth. Rising food prices aren't going away overnight. But together, by making smarter choices and pushing for smarter policies, we can face this challenge head on. If you've got strategies that work for you, drop them in the comments. Let's help each other out. That's all from our group. Thank you for watching.